This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a game, not really, a lighthearted video where I go through Goodreads, find all the lowest rated books, and at least as far as how other people have rated it, the general consensus, and see how I feel about those low rated books. This is specifically for books that I have read. I've done this video before. Maybe I'll put it right there, or Corey will. But it's been a while, so I'm gonna redo it, and it's only going to be for the books that I've read within the last 12 months. So as of March 2020 to March 2021, what are, of the books that I've read in the last year, what are the lowest rated books? And I hope it's none of my favorites. And we'll discuss. I think what my cutoff here will be, as far as I understand Goodreads, which admittedly is very little, I think that anything under 4 stars is generally kind of iffy, and then I don't see a lot of books that get much lower than that. So I think what I'll do is anything that is lower than a 3.9, so anything within the 3.8 range and lower, I think that's a pretty, at the very least, not the best received book. Am I wrong? Yeah, I don't really Goodreads. Also, I haven't been using Goodreads for about 6 months, so I'm gonna have to go to the spreadsheet that I've been using and plug in a lot of titles. But I'll edit that out. Okay, all the way back in March of 2020, a month that we all remember, the first book that's gonna show up here is Twice in a Blue Moon. Oh, and it's quite low at 3.62. Maybe these parameters are too wide. Oof. I think that's pretty low for Goodreads, isn't it? Anyway, Twice in a Blue Moon. That is a second chance romance by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren is a writing duo, a romance duo, and I really love some of the books they write. And I really don't love some of the books they write. They're very hit or miss for me, but when they hit so well. Anyway, this was a big ol' miss. I really didn't like this book. It made it into my worst books of the year video for 2020. I'll link it if you want to see a rant. This book was not good, in my opinion. And apparently, I'm not the only one that felt this way. This actually feels great. Not great. I don't want anyone to fail, but it feels nice to have my feelings validated, because I'm not much of a romance reader, so I just assume I have bad taste. I probably still do. Northanger Abbey? Well, that's just rude. Hold on. I'm sorry. What? Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen has a 3.83. Why? I just would like to know why. I just need a minute to process this real quick. First of all, how dare you?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number 1, how dare you?
Second of all, is it because everybody thinks that Jane Austen is just a romance writer? Which, don't get me wrong, just romance is obviously not a problem. I was just talking about Christina Lauren, and I love Christina Lauren's, like, half of their books. But is it because when Jane Austen isn't writing strictly romance, people tend to sometimes read it as, well, where's my cutesy romance? Is that why? Because Northanger Abbey is a satire book. It's a satire for classic Gothic fiction, and it's brilliant. It's genius. I love classic Gothic fiction so much, and this was really funny. I'm actually quite offended by this one. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo is 3.85. I would say that I'm half surprised, half not. So this book there were some really good tips in it, and it did a good job of making me motivated to clean. So I listened to the audiobook while I was cleaning my house. It was like a 3-hour audiobook. It was a nice time. But there's a lot of stuff in there that I didn't apply. There's a lot of more like mindset and philosophical things in there. Her personal beliefs and views about cleaning and keeping the house tidy, and like the way items feel when they're disrespected and stuff like that, that wasn't applicable to me. So I guess I could see people taking those things, if they're not applicable to them, and saying that they didn't like the book because of it. But it was like a 3-hour book, and it motivated me to clean. So I felt it did its job fine. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is a 3.60. I don't know how many of my videos you watch, but I did just harm this book recently. I have a whole rant video for The Cursed Child because I personally did not enjoy. I like this one. I am in agreement. In fact, it should be lower. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is a 3.81. Yeah, I believe I gave it 3 stars. No, I didn't. I gave it 2. Yeah, I gave it 2 stars, and I stand by that, you know? I didn't care for this one. I know that a lot of people did like it. It's no Cursed Child. But I felt that it easily could have been a novella for what it accomplished. And I didn't like it, man. It was a no from me. So I'm pretty cool with that. Oh, The Lord of the Flies is at 3.69. So 3.6 is pretty low, right? Because several of them are at 3.8. So 3.6, like, that's a big gap in the Goodreads world, I think, maybe. So I'm actually quite surprised that Lord of the Flies is this low. I guess I'm not fully surprised because Lord of the Flies was one of those books where I initially, when I first finished it, I really didn't like it. And then from there, I did a lot of thinking. Like, it stuck with me for a long time. And I processed it for like a week before I actually reviewed it. And even in my review, it was less of a review and more of me kind of trying to work through all my thoughts and feelings and interpretations. So, I mean, it's a book of discussions, right? It's not a story so much as it is a conversation, and the story is a vessel. So it did its job for sure. I don't agree with this author's philosophy, what he was kind of trying to discuss and trying to get across to the reader. I don't agree with his philosophy, which left me not fully satisfied, but at the same time, I've had some great conversations due to this book, and it's also a really great, like, when you are having discussions about inherently good, inherently bad, like the humanity, when you have discussions about people's humanity, this is such a, what's the right word? It's such an easy way to start that conversation or to get that conversation going in the right direction. Like, you could simply say, okay, Lord of the Flies situation, and work through your philosophy from there. And I've had a lot of really good conversations because of this book, or using this book as a conduit to shepherd the conversation that way, if that's, applicable. And conversations with people who have completely different ideas and ideals than me. And it's been great. So while I don't agree with this author's base points, and while I didn't necessarily find the story, removing philosophy from it, just looking at the story, I didn't really like it, I still am really glad I read it, and I still am glad that it's such a discussion piece, because it is a great discussion piece. I'm spending too long on this. I'm surprised this is this low. I guess I get it, because I didn't enjoy this book either. But I really appreciate it. I spent too long on that. Axioms End is a 3.85, so it's really high up on the where my cutoff is. I'm actually kind of surprised by this. I gave Axioms End 3 stars. I have a dedicated review for it. I thought that it was a solid debut, but there were quite a few things that didn't work for me that I think can be improved upon. This is by a popular YouTuber, Lindsay Ellis. I want her to succeed. I want to see anybody succeed. So I'm bummed that it's this low. I don't know. I don't know how to process this one, because anytime someone that has a huge platform before they write, they automatically have people that are going to rate it high just because they love them, or rate it low just because they hate them. So I'm not really sure how much that skews things. I guess I agree with this rating because it was a 3 for me, or maybe it was a 3.5. I might have given it 3.5, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. Oh no, How to Build Meaningful Relationships Through Conversations got a 3.48. That may be the lowest I've ever seen. I think I get it though. This is an Audible original, so it was only available through Audible, through this new thing that they're doing where you get like free books that are original books by their authors. And it was essentially, if you've read the nonfiction, How to Build Relationships and Influence People, I think is what it's called, which is an excellent, excellent nonfiction. And this is a topic that I really like a lot, connecting with people, understanding people, meeting people where they are, and like learning to have really healthy relationships with people. And I've read several nonfictions on this topic because it's a topic that I care about a lot. And this is definitely my least favorite that I've read on this topic. It was kind of just the same thing I've heard in a bunch of other books, but much less in depth. So I don't recommend it, and I understand why it's not rated well. Ultraviolet is a 3.75. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I think I gave this 3 stars. I had mixed feelings about it. I thought that it was really good potential. Execution kind of let me down. I guess other people must have felt similarly. Also, it's a book that the description has to be vague because the twist comes so late in the book. So maybe also people thought it was going one direction, and then when it went another, that could have also thrown a lot of people off. I could see that. Once More Upon a Time, another Audible original, another 3.48 rating. Ouch. I agree with this rating as well. Actually, I was not a huge fan of this. It was something like 3 hours long, and I was ready for it to be over by the time I got there. It didn't work for me. Sputnik Sweetheart is a 3.82. Oh my golly. So Morokami is an author that I've read 2 of his books. I've realized he's really not the author for me. Sputnik Sweetheart, Kafka on the Shore does not fit this category. Kafka on the Shore has better ratings than Sputnik Sweetheart, which is fine. I recently did a review for Kafka on the Shore. I also have a review for Sputnik Sweetheart. I didn't love Sputnik Sweetheart, but it was interesting enough for me to keep trying this author, and Kafka on the Shore convinced me that I probably don't need to read more from this author. I'll leave it there because I don't want to keep harping on the same thing, but I'm surprised that Sputnik Sweetheart is so much lower than Kafka on the Shore. I'm very surprised by that. The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Bachman is a 3.76. I don't think Bachman deserves a low rating. Don't get me wrong, The Deal of a Lifetime is one of my least favorite Bachman stories. So I guess if it had to be one of them, it's fine that it's this one, but also I'm not pleased by this. I think The Deal of a Lifetime might be actually my least favorite Bachman of all. Maybe not. No, I don't think it is. I think there are a couple I did lower. And don't get me wrong, just because it's the lowest on the list of Bachman, it's still fantastic. Still recommend it. Still had some great discussions through it. I don't like this. I don't think anything Bachman deserves a low rating. Oh no, In a Holidays, another Christina Lauren. 3.78. I think I gave this book 5 stars, or like a 4.5. I really liked this. This is one of the Christina Lawrence that I really like. And it's, oops. Maybe people shouldn't take my romance recommendations. I really liked this. I don't know, why do people not like it? I mean, don't get me wrong, there are definitely some plot conveniences, cheesy moments, stuff that I didn't feel like was necessary, but it swept me away. And that's so rare for this genre for me that it was just like, I'm totally into it. Okay. Oh, Mexican Gothic is a 3.72. Oh, I guess I get that. Mexican Gothic was definitely flawed. Yeah, I guess I understand that rating. That's fair. Mexican Gothic definitely had flaws. It was very, very slow. It was too obvious. The clues were too obvious. So we figure out the twist way before the main character does, like way, way, way before. So it made the middle drag a lot because we're all just kind of waiting for her to catch up. And then the climax actually hits too early and there's too much. I understand it. I get it. I do. I get it. And it was really more gross than it was creepy. But she hit the Gothic feeling really, really well. And I love Gothic books. It's like one of my favorite subgenres. So even though there were distinct things that didn't work for me about this book, I was overall very pleased with it just because she hit the Gothic environment so well. So I was happy with it. But that's fair. Jamaica Inn! It barely makes it. It's a 3.88, which is like at the very top of my cutoff, but you guys have let me down. I'm personally blaming you. Why is a Du Maurier book lower than a 4-star? I don't know what to do with myself. I feel a little bit overwhelmed and I'm gonna need a minute. This may be my favorite Du Maurier that I've read yet. I don't know, maybe it's not. It's really hard to compare them. They're all so wonderful, but I mean, I can understand that this doesn't work for everyone, but it has to have not worked for a lot of people to get this low rating. Do classics just get low ratings, possibly? Maybe we could blame that. Maybe we could just pretend that on Goodreads, classics just don't have high ratings. And that's how I'll deal with the emotions I'm feeling right now. That might be what I have to do. Everybody go rate Jamaica Inn 5 stars and then read it, and then don't change your rating. A quick ad from Squarespace. Welcome to another craft time with Squarespace. Last time we made custom bookmarks, which I'm sure many of you have tried by now. They're amazing. Today we will be tie-dyeing a shirt. I watched a tutorial on how to tie-dye shirts a few weeks ago, so I'm probably qualified to teach now. All you'll need is a shirt, something to actually dye the shirt with. I forgot what they used in the video, so I'm just using food coloring and an armful of hair ties. First thing we're gonna do is bunch up the shirt to prep for dyeing. While you're bunching up the shirt, you should be thinking about Squarespace. Because with Squarespace's blogging tool, you can share stories, photos, videos, and updates about this new hobby that you are killing at. Categorize, share, and schedule your posts to make your content work for you. Next thing we need to do is the coloring of the shirt. And again, while we're doing this, you should be thinking about Squarespace. Because with Squarespace's social sharing, the Squarespace blogging platform supports a configurable sharing button. So when you've finished your masterpiece of a shirt, your visitors can share content on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Pinterest, Tumblr, all the things. And now that you have finished this gorgeous shirt, you are free to share it with your husband. What a great gift. Look at how happy he is. So head over to squarespace.com for a free trial today, and when you're ready to launch, use the link in my description and you'll get 10% off your website or domain. Go check out Squarespace. Okay, those are all the books that I read in the last year that were quite low rated on Goodreads. Some of them I agreed with, some of them I was hurt by, and I'm offended. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different from my normal content, but you know, I just wanted to do something light and fun. Chat with me more about this in the comments. Are there any that showed up that you were surprised by? Are there any that hurt your heart a little bit? I post videos every Tuesday through Friday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.